Hello and welcome to Buffalo Plus. My Catalana, Dan Fetes. I am
Jenna baked a cake today.
I baked a cake. I made a
steak. Just because you felt like it.
I did, yeah. We've all been there.
It was
well,
good.
At least I have.
Chocolate
cake.
was good.
Chocolate on chocolate. Cake and steak.
Cake and steak.
Yeah.
All right.
It's playoff football time.
That's it.
All right, Bills Bengals coming up this week. We're going to talk about it all, including what Gabe Davis had to say, which I thought was pretty interesting and impactful for a lot of guys in the locker room.
Powerful.
Playoff Gabe.
Playoff. Big game Gabe. I like that.
Oh, you like that?
Big game Gabe.
Okay.
That's kind of hard to say, I feel
I like playoff Gabe.
Playoff game? Okay.
Because it's been in the playoffs,
game.
which are big games.
They are big games.
Yes.
And you'll be
also-
there.
I-
Because
look
it's a
at
big game.
It's a big game. I was at
You
the
beat
big
me
games.
to it. Yeah, we're going to talk about it all. Bills,
We're going to talk
Bengals,
about London.
London town.
London, yes. Bills in London.
We're going to talk about Joe Burrow. Joe Cool.
Holding Fates accountable is here. That's a good start.
We are also going to talk about our merch. Be sure to
Merch.
check it out. Go to buffaloplusstore.com. We have a bunch of stuff on there. Hats, T-shirts, mugs.
Also, if you needed the link, if you forget, in any of our stories, any of the videos,
Yeah.
right in there, you'll see the link.
Yes. buffaloplusstore.com. But again, it will be up there.
Hours of work on our end.
Yeah, it's just a
Don't-
nonstop.
If you love the site, I did it. If you didn't, I didn't. But yeah, we'll have a bunch to talk about. We're going to take a quick break and start the show.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome into another playoff edition of Buffalo Plus. Mike Catalana, Dan Cottrell. I am Jenna Cottrell. Tonight's show presented by Connors and Ferris. In this one, the Bills, what did I do?
Dan Fates.
What did I say?
Dan Cottrell.
Are we married now?
We are off to a great start.
Oh, all right, well, welcome.
So we're live here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But for television reasons, we're
Yeah,
going to
we're gonna
restart. But by the way,
Awesome.
you're going to see that again.
Was awesome.
So she's called herself Mike Catalana on the air. She's never referred to any of us
I did
as.
something immediately.
Yeah, because I looked at Dan, I'm like,
the look that
Dan
she gave.
Cottrell. Oh, that's getting tweeted out.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah. So you guys know we're live here and we're recording
We
a
recorded
television
to
show.
television
So
show.
I figured
But
that
we're gonna
doesn't
have
need to run.
re-record a television
Yes.
show.
The comments are flowing in. Dan Cottrell.
Dan
Freudian
Cottrell.
slip.
No.
No.
I don't think that's how that works. I got nervous before I started talking. Now I know why. Dan
So it's-
Fates. Okay, sorry. How do we need to...
Mike Fetes, Jenna Catalana,
Don't.
Dan Cottrell.
Don't.
All right.
Okay.
Got 30
Oh
seconds.
my gosh.
Okay.
Mike Catalana.
We're off to a
I
start.
already have notifications pouring in.
Oh,
That
yeah.
makes me really,
Yep.
really scared.
Somebody did comment that we're very unprofessional.
We are.
That is understood.
Yes.
Yeah. They
Enjoyed the show.
It was to
Yes.
say, they just joining us. Very unprofessional. Oh my God, the look in your guys.
We ready?
It was awesome.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome into another playoff edition of Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fetes, I am Jenna Cottrell. We are getting you ready as the Bills hosting the Bengals on Sunday in this game as the Bills beat the Dolphins in a nail-biter last week. It's on to the divisional round for the Bills. What did you make of last week, Mike, and how can that set up on Sunday?
They love to say survive in advance. That is exactly what the Bills did. That was the longest game in the history of the National Football League.
It just ended.
Yeah, I mean, 4-hour regulation game without any real delays. Like, it just was how long that game took. And it was, especially from mid-second quarter to the end, it was very difficult to watch. But the Bills found a way.
Yeah.
I know that's been the slogan. They did find a way.
Yeah.
And you win in advance. Not pretty.
I think it was one of those cases where the Bills got caught playing with their food a little bit. Like the fact that they went
Like
up
too cute,
Yeah,
almost?
they went up 17-0.
Yeah.
They thought this is this is what we all kind of expected. It's Skylar Thompson, and then it was some bad turnovers, a kick out of bounds, bad special teams, and all of a sudden the Dolphins had life, and before we know it, the Bills are on their heels.
It was those bad turnovers and then the short fields after that, and that kind of compounded things. And then you know how it is in those situations where things get tight. And at some points you're like, Josh, you can't do too much. Josh Allen, you can't do that. But again, the Bills, they won 34-31 over the Dolphins as their season continues on.
Yeah, when you look at it, you don't love the way it went.
Yes.
But it ends up with a win. And they don't give you any bonus points coming into this game because you won the game by more. You have to win in advance. Cincinnati did the same thing. They made a lot of mistakes in that game. They had the benefit of a big play, and they won against a division rival, and they moved on. Not even close to perfect. I think coming into this game, and if they go on beyond that, they're going to have to play better.
Yeah, they certainly do. But obviously, we're a couple games away from the Super Bowl. But I mean, we were at practice this week, and you could just feel a different vibe in the building as the season and the postseason continues on.
Yeah, there's guys who have been around and done this, right? As an organization, the Bills have never won the Super Bowl. As a group of players, they've never been able to get that done. But they have a guy, we know Von Miller. Von Miller has been there, done it. Super Bowl MVP. He's won a couple of championships, coming off one last year with the Rams. He's hurt. He's not playing. But Gabe Davis told the story about what Von did, and it sends a message for the entire team.
Yeah, I mean, Von had put the Super Bowl trophy over in the locker room and put, you said you'd do anything for it. So kind of reminded me of, what we need to do to get there, and I'm gonna try my best to show the guys they can trust me and do the extra work. And my mom also wrote me a letter and reminded me too where I came from, how blessed I am to be in the position I'm in, and to remember why I'm doing what I'm doing, and also just remember where it all came from.
And Gabe was breathing hard because he caught about 300 balls from the jugs machine after practice before that interview. And he said that was part of it. When Von says you would do anything for it, he wanted to send that message of, I'm going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, he's a key guy, Jenna. There is no doubt. Look, he's gotten a lot of criticism this year, and honestly, he's deserved a percentage of that because so much is expected of him. But playoff Gabe is something else.
Is real.
Yeah, because we've seen what he's done in his last 2 playoff games.
Yeah.
Right? He's gone over 200 and 4 touchdowns and 100 in this game and a touchdown. And if playoff Gabe plays like that, this offense is so much better.
Well, you talk about how clutch he was. I mean, that touchdown in the game. And Dan, the Bills need him to step up because he has been inconsistent throughout the season. But for him to have a role on this offense and be dependable like Buffalo needs, it just says so much about what the team needs as well.
I know Josh doesn't ever want to force the ball to somebody, but I've made the comment before that it's okay to force it as long as it's to Stephon Diggs because he has been the most reliable target for the Bills this season. But when Gabe gets involved, it opens up things underneath. It opens up things for Stephon, and it flows better. And it feels like that offense that we got used to seeing the last 2 years. Yeah, no, it certainly does. And this week, I mean, there's going to be a lot of emotion out there as well as Demar Hamlin. He's been back at the facility. Sean McDermott talking just about him being there, being back with his teammates. He said he's been at the facility almost every day. And Sean McDermott made it very clear he's taking baby steps to getting back in towards a routine. But we saw how much emotion there has been over these last 2 weeks. But McDermott said and spoke about what it means now, where Demar is at, and how much it just helps this team.
Well, I think the guys are in a good spot. Demar's in the building now, almost starting daily, and so that's good news. And as he continues to improve, I think those are, that certainly helps. So that's going to be, I mean, that experience we'll carry that with us, and there's a challenge to that, but there's also a lot of good that came from that.
I do think there is a challenge to that because of how much emotion, and obviously it's going to be the same opponent with the Bengals coming into Orchard Park. But at the same point, Mike, what lasting kind of impact do you think it makes having him in the building and seeing him knowing he's doing better?
You know what amazes me? It's only been 3 weeks.
It's crazy.
It feels like 3 months.
It does.
It does.
And when we see even some of those shots that we showed him in the hospital. Remember how great it felt to see that shot because you saw him? And he's so much beyond that now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's walking around, he's talking to his teammates. He is being Demar in that case. And I think if you think it wasn't like that, if he wasn't making
Agreed.
that kind of progress, it would be so much different for this team.
Yeah.
They feel very good about it. And honestly, they don't want to let him down either. And I think that's a very real thing. They see him. He's not involved in the football stuff. Not right now. He's not sitting in meetings.
He's not in meetings,
Football's the next step for him, if that's what he decides to do. But in this case, it's him being around there. And honestly, Dan, I think it frees up the players to feel good about football.
We originally talked about how it was a weight lifted off their shoulder when they got to talk to Demar or see him on FaceTime. But then Dion even went farther this week, calling it a bubble of positivity that is around One Bills Drive. And I think that's why, whether or not he's there at the game on Sunday, we're still to be determined. But I think the fact that this turns into more of a football game, knowing where Demar is and being around the facility.
Yeah, and you talk about it being a football game and those positive vibes and all of that stuff. But this is a Bills team we know, Dan, that needs to clean stuff up, including the turnovers. There were 3 last week. Josh Allen has been, I mean, we can get into it, but he has been something, you see the big plays, you know the big plays. Yeah. But you know what they could also lead to as well. And where do you think his confidence is at?
I don't think he lacks in any confidence. I think it's just the fact of not trying to play hero ball, which is something we have talked about at times with Josh this season. Yeah. Trying to do too much. I've talked about it as the great golfers, everybody hits bad golf shots and they all go in the woods. And everybody thinks the great golfers have to hit a miracle shot through the trees. No, the guys in the PGA Tour punch out and take the layup. That's what Josh needs to do. 0 catches to the running backs last week. A lot of shots downfield. I know they were one-on-one chances, but they're low percentage throws. Mike, you've talked about the fact that completion percentage is a decision-making statistic. I think that needs to increase against the Bengals.
Yeah, and I thought what Miami did last week was put the Bills in a position to take those shots. Yeah. But just because their defense is sort of dictating you have opportunities doesn't mean you have to take every single one of them. Yeah. You know, there's times to take the three-pointer, there's times to get it inside and get a bucket and get fouled. Yeah. It's a different way to approach it.
I like that.
And the 3 is great, the deep pass is great, but sometimes, as you say, take the cheese and move to the next step.
I mean, when you look at his stats in terms of turnovers, it is alarming for Allen. I mean, 17 games leads the NFL in turnovers, 16 interceptions. Dan, 16 fumbles, 6 of those being lost. I mean, that's a lot.
That's a lot of turnovers.
That's
and again,
a lot.
It's 16 fumbles, okay, only 6 are lost. Like he had 3 last game, only lost 1. But it's still impactful, and you're still putting the ball in harm's way. But we're asking Josh if he cares about these turnovers. He doesn't. He knows it's a fine balance between good and aggressive.
You know, obviously we want to end the ball or end every possession with the ball in our hands, whether it's a touchdown, you know, punting it away or kicking a field goal, and that's our mindset that'll never change. And you know, there is a thin line between being aggressive and being a little bit reckless. So again, just you know, getting back on the right side of that line and being smart, but not being conservative.
Sean McDermott was asked about during this 8-game winning streak. In their first 5 games, they've turned the ball over 3 times. In their last 3, they've turned it over 9 times. Asked what the difference was. Sean said he was going to church more in the first 5 games. He's going to go twice this week.
Yeah, he needs it.
Problem solved, guys. We're good.
Jenna, the number that stands out in the whole thing, it's not the interceptions, it's the amount of times he's put the ball on the carpet. 16 is an absurd amount of turnovers, not turnovers, fumbles, where the other team has an opportunity to get the ball. Protect the ball when you have it in your hands, and then you'll be able to make those throws.
We know that can cost you.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but coming up after, we're going to talk about Joe Burrow and what exactly makes him so cool. Hello.
How you doing over there?
Yeah.
We made it through the first
I can't
block.
believe it. Yeah. You composed yourself. Well done.
Yes. Yes. What do you got for
crying
comments?
on the inside.
Somebody wants to say that like I'm now backtracking on Gabe Davis. No. I was just never one to say that he was going to break out the way that everybody did.
No, but what Gabe hasn't been is the consistent guy they expected him to be during the season.
Which I said I was concerned about.
If Gabe has 4 great playoff games, then nobody's going to care about the rest of it. That's asking a lot.
Yeah.
But during the regular season, just like in previous years, he wasn't that guy, and it did cause them some issues because they put a lot on him.
Yep.
He has not lived up to what they were hoping for.
I agree.
But was a good sign last week, and if he does that again this week, that's huge for them.
Well, also there's more information, and you can change your opinion based on more information. That is allowed as well. Like
I was never rooting against Gabe.
No,
or
I
saying
get
that he
it. But
wasn't gonna be
you
part-
can say, hey, he didn't have a great regular season, because I think everyone would agree with that, and then say he played really well in that first playoff game, because you could say that too.
It's the version of that tweet didn't age well. Well, at the moment, it did. It was
correct.
the truth, and it can change. So.
Yeah. No, I agree.
A couple of people talking about whether to be conservative in this game. Obviously, everybody was talking about how I wanted the team to play conservative last week. This is the exact opposite. Last week was crazy for me. It was my one take just because of the thought of who they were playing. This game, turnovers are going to kill you, but you need to score points against Joe.
Yeah, I won't hold it against you. You were wrong last week. I meant to say that right as we were going to the break.
I was right. The turnovers that I was worried about happened.
Not
they
about
gave the
being
Dolphins
aggressive.
points.
Sloppy, reckless.
It was reckless.
Not aggressive.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. All right, welcome back to Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. All right, guys, let's talk about this Bengals team. They've won 9 games in a row, which actually just seems like insanity when you think about what it takes to get that done. They had that tough win against the Ravens last week, but what do you think, Mike, stands out to you about Joe Burrow and just what he's able to do?
Look, his mindset is low-key. It's the way he is. I don't find him to be a spectacular player. I just think he's very good and very confident. It's the way it comes out in him. And I think that translates to his team. Like, we have this covered. And even when they won last year and made it to the Super Bowl, everybody else was going crazy. He was pretty low-key. He doesn't do that, and I think it helps him on the field.
I mean, he's obviously won a national championship with LSU, but he definitely, Dan, does have that, like, act like you've been here before and I have type of mentality in my eyes.
I see a lot of similarities between the Bengals and Bills. In the quarterbacks, how their quiet confidence, the way they carry their team, the way that they're just another one of the dudes in the locker room, that they're a relatable guy to their teammates. I also see them as a team that feeds off motivation of being the underdog. And we have heard that a lot these last few weeks, where the Bills are once again favored in this game against Cincinnati. And the Bengals were asked about what it's like to be an underdog in this game.
We know that we're the defending AFC champions, and so there's an edge to this team where we're not an underdog to anybody. And so I think that's just been the feeling we've had all season. We don't really care what anybody else says about us. We know we belong in the field with every team in this league.
I always enjoy going on the road. It's just you and your guys. Feels like it's you against the world, and that's where we like to be.
Do you feel like an underdog going into this game?
I never feel like an underdog.
I mean, I do believe that. And also, I feel like Joe Burrow's hat gets bigger every single week.
He was great in Home Alone. I really do think. I mean, come on. He does have that look.
He's got a little bit of that look.
Yeah.
He was also asked if he sees his Super Bowl window closing and any pressure, and he said, as long as I'm here, the Super Bowl window's open.
Man.
That's where I think he is.
He's a cool dude.
But that is where I think it's a little different than what we see with the Bills. That is not the way Josh Allen expresses things.
No.
But they do both have that vibe, and it permeates the locker room.
It is interesting because I do feel like Joe Burrow is more of the flashy type of that, where Josh Allen was even asked in practice this week, like, pregame outfit, who's going to win? And Josh was like, 10 times out of 10, it's going to be Joe Burrow. Like, I just go to my closet and I find what I like, and that's where I go to. But I do think it's that calm confidence that Allen has, where maybe Joe Burrow's is a little bit more, I don't want to say obvious, but at the same point, I mean, the Bills, they know what they're up against in Joe Burrow and what he presents in terms of a challenge. And Jordan Poyer talked about this week just what it's going to be like to have to go up against him and with everything at stake.
I think he just has a very good command of that offense and what he's able to do. Obviously, he has a lot of trust in his receivers. One of the top receiving corps in the NFL. So, he has a very good understanding of what he sees on the other side of the football. He has a very good understanding of timing and his receivers, their routes, and he's very smart, very intelligent.
I like this too, as Poyer mentioning the fact that they don't do anything too intricate. It's just the execution, Dan, of everything is to a T.
It's what Leslie Frazier said he was most impressed about with Joe Burrow. And it goes back to when he said the answer of talking about how he takes the 4- and 5-yard completions. That A lot of people want the flashy stat, the alley-oop touchdown, and Joe Burrow will surgically go down the field 5-6 yards at a time, and he goes, it's frustrating for a defense. When Leslie Frazier said that, I immediately thought of Josh Allen.
Yeah, me too.
And I thought, that is what defenses hate. Kill them with 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah.
And that's how you can do it.
And I would say if you look at 3 wide receivers, tight end, and running back, is there anybody who has a better group than the Bengals?
Skill players, no.
All the way together, they are really strong.
Hayden Hurst was good even on the 7 plays the Bengals had in the Monday night
game.
Yeah, we have a couple stats comparing Joe Burrow to Josh Allen, and I mean, yeah, it's the points per game. Like, it's all pretty even, it feels like, but something to look at in terms of this.
Yeah, they are pretty even that way. They do it in a different way. Ross Tucker's going to be doing the broadcast this week for Westwood One. He'll be down on the sidelines. And when he was on the Buffalo Plus podcast, and I asked him about Burrow, and that I referred to it as a quiet cockiness. Here's what Ross had to say.
I like that. I might use that Sunday. Quiet cockiness. There's no question. He is extremely confident, bordering on cocky, arrogant, but he doesn't really do it in an outspoken way.
Yeah.
It's like he subtly lets you know that he's the man without having to tell you he's the man, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? It's just kind of what he puts off. It's working for him.
It's so true, though.
Yeah.
He's the alpha without having to tell you that.
Yeah, that's where I see the difference between he and Josh Allen. Josh sort of sticks by the script, take it one game at a time.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow says, I'm never an underdog.
Yeah.
They're different.
Very different.
Yeah.
In terms of that. All right, we're going to take another quick break, but coming up, we're going to talk about the Bills heading to London and why this stadium will be so special for Bills fans. Hello.
I wanted to clear up one thing. I think a couple of people are commenting in saying that Jordan Poyer is out for this game.
No.
He's not. He just didn't practice, and it was a veteran rest practice.
Yeah,
he's dealing with a knee injury. He's
yeah.
dealing with a knee injury, but again, he was out of practice today for rest. So
Yeah.
I think that may have gotten a little bit misunderstood.
It's rest. Most weeks it says rest and knee. And look, he's not practicing a lot because they were going to keep him off that knee.
Yeah, definitely.
And no Micah Hyde this week, but.
Well, we get into it in the next
Yeah,
block.
I know.
But yes, in terms of people wanting to know that, we all expect Poyer to play.
Paul, Jenna will be on the field Sunday. I'm going to see how the other half lives in the press box.
Yeah. I got to say, after being in the press box, you don't do that much work.
I was working the entire game. I don't know what she was doing.
Nope.
But I was working during the game.
Also, Jordan Poyer on his podcast, kind of get the sense this is his last Bills home game.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
Very well could be. Because,
he kind of thanked Bills Mafia.
Also, if Doug Peterson and Jacksonville take care of business and the Bills win,
it's true.
Championship game would be in Orchard Park.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson 6-0 against the spread as an underdog in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's going against Andy Reid. It's a little different.
Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday.
That's true. That is a fact.
High school, college, and the NFL.
Sorry.
Facts.
Yeah. He was just down 27-0 to the Chargers.
They're the Chargers.
Yeah. That's tough.
I had the Chargers.
I had Jacksonville money line.
That was a good call.
Wow.
And when they were down 17-0.
Do you have a bunch of best bets?
That?
I think so. I'm finishing it up right now, but
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. All right.
7-5 last week was fine.
We'll be be right back.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. Let's talk about this Bills injury report as we head into the divisional round this upcoming weekend. Now, one of the guys that people are talking about, Jordan Poyer, limited in terms of veteran day of rest. Mike, we expect him to be out there.
Yeah, they've been doing this week after week. Yeah. He's dealt with so much this year. It's just like put Jordan Poyer as limited and get him ready to play on Sunday. I mean, that's what he has done. So I think they're in good shape. Again, not practicing for that reason. I think the one you keep an eye on is Jordan Phillips. It'd be great to see him back in the lineup as they look to get some pressure from the defensive line.
I'll add Isaiah McKenzie to that list for me to provide a little bit more speed in that slot position. Obviously, Cole Beasley had the touchdown and the long third down conversion, but I still think McKenzie has more upside going up against a Bengals team that this week they're going to need to be aggressive. They're going to need to score points with Cincy.
And the Bengals 3 offensive linemen short in this game, so they're going to want to get the pressure.
That's something to think about. We want to thank you, our sports medicine, for that segment. Now, Dan, I want to talk to you because Micah Hyde was limited once again at practice. He will not play this week, but at the same point, what did he say running off the field on Sunday against the Dolphins?
He looked right in the camera at me and said, 1 game closer, let's go. So that's, in general, you can read that as 1 game closer to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which is true.
It is.
They are
That
1
is,
game
in
closer.
fact, true.
But it could also mean that he's 1 game closer to returning. Not this week, but Jordan Porter even added, there is extra motivation. On top of anything else, that he wants to play another game with Micah Hyde.
Yeah. It's got to happen. If they win, it's got to happen the next week.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine so. That'd be the case. All right, let's talk about it. The Bills. And it's announced that they will be playing in London this upcoming season.
Cheerio.
The date and opponent still to be determined, obviously. But, Mike, you were there. Last time it was 2015.
It was a great trip. I really enjoyed it, and it was fun to be there. There was Bills fans from all over the world. Now, this time, they're going to play in a different stadium. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This is the one that was built there. And the reason why this is a big deal is this is what the Bills have modeled their new stadium after. As you can see, covered a good portion towards the top. They even have said it in the statement Ron Rakuya put out. He said, we want Bills fans to see the stadium we modeled our new 2026 stadium after. So that we're looking forward to. They had played at the Wembley Stadium when they were there in 2015. It's a great trip. It's a lot of fun. And yes, it's a disruption to the season, but most teams are going through this at some point. So I think they're going to play the Raiders. That's just my guess with the way the schedule comes out. Maybe the Broncos. Those were the 2 teams it was looking like.
Or the Bucs, right?
Yeah, but the Bucs were just in Germany last year. I guess that could be the case.
True.
But it's a Bills home game.
Yes.
Correct.
So that
so
means
the Bills will now play 8 home games in Orchard Park, 8 road games, and that game in London.
Yeah.
So probably October, but we'll see for sure.
We've got fans in England.
Yeah.
They've come up to us at the airport
Yeah.
and said that they listened to and watched the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. So we appreciate it.
That's great.
We still have to duke it out for who's going to that.
That's
so,
gonna be-
as to say. Yeah, Mike's going.
How's the press box going to be there?
Yeah.
That's the
Actually, in London, the last time we had to be outside.
All right, I'm going to take a quick break, but we'll have our picks and predictions coming up right after this. Oh my gosh, you.
What? We were outside.
Oh.
We were outside.
It
was cool. That was cool at Wembley.
Detroit has the.
Oh my God!
But
was
that's
like,
obviously an indoor.
If you guys see Ted Lasso, one of the first
New
episodes
season.
of Ted Lasso, they go to walk on the field, and the guy
Yells at
comes
you.
running. That happened to
Nate.
Toby and I. We were near
You
the
got yelled at a
field.
lot in that England trip.
I know. And the guy's like, you got to stay off the field. And we're like, we were like in the end zone. We were way in the back. We were shooting some stuff. We were there with a guy from the stadium. Like, we were doing the tour.
That's
and
wild.
And he was yelling. So when I saw Ted Lasso, I'm like, that's what happened to us. So this will be that new stadium, which looks really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks
That's
good.
exciting.
So it'll give us an idea of what we'll see 2026. It's going to come up fast.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It's already,
That is crazy.
That is weird.
Think about like how much we've talked and reported on the stadium, and it's like coming up.
Yeah, well, 23, 24, 25. You got 3 more seasons in the old stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am excited to see that stadium.
That Monday night game before and pregame was maybe the best atmosphere I thought I was at this season. I think it had that playoff vibe on that Monday night. The playoff game against Miami on Sunday. Yeah. And maybe it was because it was against Skylar Thompson. Maybe because it was at Sunday at 1. It didn't have that feel. I expected Sunday at 3 o'clock.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yep. I think it's going to be fun.
Just everything at
fun
stake.
Atmosphere.
The team wants to do all that stuff. Who's coming in? All right, we're going to have our picks and predictions coming right back up. All right, welcome back to Buffalo Plus. Bills, Bengals, this game at 3 o'clock.
Yep.
Kickoff a little bit later. Mike, we are expecting quite the atmosphere there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think this is what you earn. You know, that 2 seed, you earn a couple of home games. And Dan, last week maybe not as fired up for many reasons. I think the crowd's going to be ready to go for this one.
Absolutely. And our sponsor?
Yeah, Greg Connor's our sponsor. And I got to say, I caught Greg at a good moment. Cool look for him. He's in a jet flying to New York. He's doing business. That's what he does. We caught him before takeoff and asked him, Greg, what do you expect to see Sunday?
For me, it all depends on what Ken Dorsey does. It's all up to Dorsey right now. It's squarely in his pocket. Josh has the talent. We have the talent on offense to win this game. If Dorsey calls the game like he did against the Dolphins, Josh is going to be prone to making poor decisions and poor turnovers. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be 31-30, and our field goal kicker is going to have the last swing at the ball. And we're going to be heading to we will be staying home. We'll know whether we'll be staying home or whether we'll be heading to Atlanta.
Calling the shot from the plane. He wasn't flying the plane, by the way. He was flying in the plane. So
yeah, we figured as much.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about our picks then and predictions. Dan, I want to start with you.
Oh, yeah. I think this game, unlike last week where I said to play conservative and safe this weekend, I think you air it out. I think you push the envelope. I think you empty the tank on everything that you got. You're going to need to score points to keep up with Cincinnati. I got this one being much more high scoring. But the Cincinnati Bengals are missing 3 offensive linemen. I think the defensive line of the Bills gets after it. Don't turn the ball over. Cincy right now is causing a lot of turnovers. The Bills are turning the ball over a lot. Fix that. Take the cheese underneath by Josh. Bills win 30-24 high-scoring game.
All right, I don't have my game as high-scoring as yours just because I feel like the playoffs, things get a little bit tighter, everything gets more intense. But I do think you bring up a great point in terms of the Bengals' offensive line. They are beaten up. They have backups in there and backups and backups. The Bills have to capitalize, get after Joe Burrow. And look, we know the secondary is getting back things. Dean Marlowe's had a couple nice games. But this team, it's important for the Bills to get good pressure, protect the ball, Josh Allen do his thing, and I have the Bills winning this one with a final score of 24-21, a close one at Highmark Stadium.
Not surprisingly, I'm going to disagree with Dan on this one.
Shocking.
I want the Bills to be a little more conservative in this game. I don't think you need to outscore. Cincinnati's been scoring in the 20s every week. They have not been a prolific offense over the last 7 weeks of the season. I think protecting the football is job one. I'm not saying conservative. I am saying is this is not where you got to light it up on every down. This is going to be a tough, physical game. I have the Bills winning it 27-23 to move on to the AFC Championship.
All right. We have all the Bills moving on.
I can't believe you did that.
Well, I'm right again.
I can't believe you went there.
You
stole my playbook from last week.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're all going Bills in this game. Dan, you cracked me up. All right, before we go, please be sure to subscribe to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Just scan that QR code right there on your screen with your smartphone. It'll take you directly there. You can like, comment, as well as subscribe to the channel. And we also have Buffalo Plus merchandise. Yeah. If you want to support our channel, we always appreciate it. We'll be there, all of us, for this game. Kick off a little bit later. For Mike and Dan, I'm Jenna. Thanks for joining us here on Buffalo Plus.